You're tuning into Black and White Sports on YouTube. The no-holds-barred truth on sports. The main event starts now.
Okay, so I think there's times when certain things happen when it comes to stories like this that can be done as part of a, hey, we need you to take the temperature, okay? And what I mean by that is take the temperature of the environment, take the temperature of the city, take the temperature of the reaction. And in this case, when we're talking about this story, and you might be like, why is this even a thing? Well, I'm going to tell you why this is a thing. And what thing am I talking about? Matt Canada getting replaced in 2024. Unfortunately, like I said yesterday, Steelers fans, Mike Tomlin, I don't think it's in his pedigree to fire Matt Canada during the season. If he was going to do it, there was a bye week, he would have already done it, okay? So we're talking about this right here, folks. Let's look at this. Do you know what this is? This is the coaching staff of the 2002 Buccaneers. That is Jon Gruden. A defensive backs coach is one Mike Tomlin. That's right. Man, there were some names on here. Really was. There's Jay Gruden, Rich Bisaccia, Monty Kiffin, the great Monty Kiffin, Rod Marinelli, Raheem Morris, and Mike Tomlin. Wow. So anyway, that's why we're talking about this right now, folks. We're talking about longtime Steelers reporter floating Jon Gruden's name as a replacement for Matt Canada in 2024. Now, you may be like, why in the world would Mike Tomlin want to do this? Well, there's one big reason. Well, there might be multiple reasons, but there's one big reason. Mike Tomlin is a huge Jon Gruden guy, okay? They are friends. They're friends away from football. They're friends in football. And we know one thing. Mike Tomlin wants to be tough. He wants to run the ball. And you need a perceived offensive guru to work with your new quarterback, your what would be third-year quarterback. And Jon Gruden would certainly fit that criteria. We know he was with the Raiders. The Raiders try to fashion themselves, much like the Steelers, as hard-nosed, tough. We've all seen it, right? So let's get to this, folks. As Steelers fans continue to insist on the termination of offensive coordinator Matt Canada, yeah, I understand that. In a recent chat, longtime Steelers reporter Jerry Delac, I don't know, of the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette was asked this question, quote, who do you expect realistically the Steelers to target in the offseason for their inevitable vacant OC job? He responded, way too early to speculate, but a good one would be Mike Tomlin's friend, Jon Gruden. Wow. Okay. The league and Commissioner Roger Goodell, who are being sued by Gruden, probably wouldn't like it. And then there are the emails Gruden sent and someone leaked. Would Steelers fans look the other way on that? Question mark. Maybe they would. Maybe they would welcome anyone other than Canada to run the offense. Tomlin worked for Gruden in Tampa Bay before becoming Minnesota's defensive coordinator in 2006. A year later, he was coaching the Steelers. Gruden resigned as the Raiders coach under pressure 2 years ago today, has made a mild resurrection consulting, you got it, folks, with the Saints multiple times already this year. And if this is really a thing, then the Steelers may be in some trouble here. And I'm going to explain why, and I have talked about this before. Now, way back in May, Jon Gruden was brought in to consult with the Saints and help install the offense because him and Derek Carr are very tight. He was brought into New Orleans. And then during training camp, Jon Gruden showed up again in New Orleans. Now, I made a video, maybe it was about 2 weeks ago, on the fact that the Saints offense hasn't looked very good. Okay? They scored 34 points against the Patriots, but prior to that, things were pretty rough. And the speculation started churning, and I said this months ago. I said Dennis Allen may have theoretically opened the door for Jon Gruden to come into the Saints eventually as an offensive coordinator there if Pete Carmichael ultimately doesn't work out. Because let's be real, Derek Carr just got a massive contract, and he's best friends with Jon Gruden. They adore each other. Quarterback, coach. We know how this works, folks. And there's the other thing. The Steelers have to be concerned that a good NC2A college doesn't grab Jon Gruden. LSU got very close prior to Brian Kelly to Jon Gruden. A lot of people don't realize that. People think Jon Gruden's never getting another job anywhere. He's eventually going to be a high-profile college coach at the very least. Now, whether or not any of this leads to a head coaching job in the NFL, I don't know. But if he still wants to coach, becoming an offensive coordinator of the Saints or of the Steelers, and if you go to the Steelers and the Rooneys, and that's going to be the hard part, are the Rooneys going to actually want to or co-sign on hiring somebody like Jon Gruden, who I believe absolutely deserves another chance. I think he was unjustly targeted by somebody that strategically released emails at different points. Mark Davis didn't want to fire him after the first batch, so they released a second batch a few days later of emails that, of course, forced Mark Davis to make Jon Gruden resign. Jon Gruden was fired, basically. All right? In other words, he was allowed to resign to save face in that part without having the official you're fired label on him, and Mark Davis didn't want to terminate him. It's one of the more odd circumstances we've ever seen in sports where the owner did not want to fire his head coach. Actually, Mark Davis still loves Jon Gruden. And I think if you gave him truth serum, he'd like to have Jon Gruden back with the Raiders right now. And the Raiders were finally starting to go in the right direction. He was fired when they were 3-2. And his offense was finally really rolling. He had gotten that team to where he wanted it. And, in fact, I think the Raiders finished the year and made the playoffs that year under Rich Bisaccia, but that's neither here nor there. That was a Gruden-formed team, okay? And so that's very interesting. I saw this. I know Steelers fans are wanting Matt Canada gone, and Dennis Allen talks to Mike Tomlin, says, my God, these Saints players love Gruden. Warren Sapp loves Gruden. Randall Cunningham loves Gruden. I mean, how many guys have to co-sign Gruden not being a racist before he actually gets a job? Now, the NFL and Roger Goodell's head would spin right off his neck. And I would love it, and it would be hilarious. Because he's suing them for like $50 million bones right now. $50 million. And word has it, as of right now, Gruden still wants to nail Goodell's head to a pike. The stick, Tommy Lee Jones style, in the prison. Anybody seen Natural Born Killers? I mean, Goodell wants to eat Gruden. Gruden wants to eat Goodell alive. I mean, he's got a lot of venom towards Goodell right now. And he thinks he was targeted. Who could blame him? So it's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out. Gruden is going to end up somewhere, I believe, in the next 18 months. So we'll see where this goes. Peace. I'm out. Till next time.
Thanks for watching the show. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Be sure to tune in next time on Black and White Sports.